they seem to think that nothing is going to happen to them. Or if they try something and they don't get any responses, and it could come days, weeks, months, even years later, they could start having issues, and it'll just build from there as far as that aspect goes. I mean, you have people that open doors willingly and knowingly, and then you have people that may open doors and not realizing it.
Yeah, there is definitely a percentage of people that they'll be like, I didn't know at the time that Ouija boards were dangerous, but now that I'm starting to research it, I realize how dangerous they are, and so I'm having this issue, and I'm thinking it was when, back in this month of my life when we played that thing, every night for the month or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
Or I saw this ritual in a witchcraft book and decided to try it out with the premise again of just testing the waters, to see if anything would happen.
Wow. And then they wonder, that must have been real. So
I got into demonology primarily because when I was living in Florida, I had an encounter where I actually literally have a physical scar on my body from an encounter with one. And instead of me running away from it, I decided to take what I learned from that as lesson and knowledge to study, because I wanted to help people, because there are people out here that do experience true demonic hauntings, and they don't deserve to have any of it. Nobody does.
Well,
many times people will open doors and it's like sometimes the punishment is far. The person could be good almost all the time. You know what I'm saying? But they spent that, that they did something to open a door, or you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Now all of a sudden they got all this horrible stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people that become demonically possessed, we hear are like, especially with, well, not especially, but we'll say certainly with the famous cases. Yeah. You think like, what would warrant that punishment, right? Where you're talking about full blown possession, where it's just the 1% of the 1% that's just nasty.
Yeah.
For something like that, the punishment is way worse than the crime, most likely.
Do you want to hear about my experience that warranted me to get into my demonology studies?
I do.
Okay. And this is something I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with talking, because when I would first talk to people about it, it was something that would give me anxiety. But in this instance, this was before I had met Kevin, and it was so many years ago, I can't even remember. I was called in by a team, and they had requested me to do a medium walk of the home because they were having activity and they didn't know what was causing any of it. So I get there on the day in question, and as soon as I got out of the car and I'm walking up the driveway, when you have something that demonic, you have something that dark and evil, you could feel it even from the outside of the property, not just from the inside. It felt like I walked into this heavy wall of this thick oppressiveness. It wasn't a good feeling. So I walk in and I meet everybody, and I meet the homeowners. They had noted that they had children, but the children weren't there at that time. And while we were talking, something kept pulling my attention to a closet. And I had asked them a few minutes, when I started to walk, if I could check out their closet, because something was getting my attention from that particular closet. So the husband opened the door, put on the light, and told me, it's fine. You have the whole house to walk. Let us know what you get, kind of deal, so we know what's going on. And I pointed to the floor, and I said, do you have something under? And I said, there's something with the floorboards. And they kind of looked at each other, and then they looked at me like they were shocked. And this is what I had generally thought from the beginning. And I lift the wood, and sure enough, there's Ouija board underneath the rafter of a couple of loose boards in the closet. So I pick it up and I hand it to them, and they're telling me that they don't know where it came from. And so I walked the house, and it was a 2-story house. I walked the whole entire first floor. Everything was completely normal. Didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, didn't feel anything. I was getting ready to go up and walk the second floor. Now, I don't know if these steps where you walk up, it's like 5 steps and there's like one big flat step that curves, okay? I got up to the second landing and I put my hand on it and I'm about to walk up the stairs and I'm looking right up at the top of the stairs when all of a sudden this 7-foot tall black shadowy mass pops up at the top of the stairs. At this point, I can't move. I can't yell. I'm completely frozen. This thing rushes me as I'm standing on the flat step. This thing picks me up from the stairs where I was standing, throws me across the room, and I smacked right up against a wall.
Holy cow, Jennifer.
Screwed up my left ankle really bad. Didn't break it, thank God. Now, when this is going on, I have this demonic being telling me who it is, or at least who it's serving, and that I didn't have a right to be there because it was invited. And at the same time, I have some of these people from this team helping me up, and we look over, and the husband and wife are laughing at me.
Get
it was
out.
In that moment, no, it was in that moment that I realized that they were baiting people to come into the home to test them to see if they could pick up on what was there, right? So before I leave, they had to help me out to the vehicle to get me home. I yelled a few choice words I can't say on radio. And I said, you don't need me. You don't need them. All of you need Jesus. And with that, I left. And a couple of days after, I noticed things starting up at the house for me. Like I would see little black shadows at the corner of my eye.
Right.
I would get pinned to furniture, whether it was daytime or nighttime. I would get scratched. It just all kinds of stuff. And I got to the point where I decided to call a priest to come in and do a general house blessing. Just to do a general blessing. And explain to him what was going on. And he said that he would come out the following day. Now, the same night, I decided I'm going to take a shower. Now, me being a demonologist, I wear St. Michael medals, St. Benedict, and miraculous medals around my neck. I don't ever take them off. I had my medals on a ribbon. And there's no way that they could have come off on their own. I'm in the shower, and all of a sudden, I feel same familiar cold rush of air. My medals, I actually watch fall off of my ribbon, and they're at my feet on the floor of the bathtub. Shortly after that, I was actually pressed up against the wall, and I got the snot smacked out of me by something I couldn't see. And I had contacted the father again, and I explained to him what had happened, because I was pretty hysterical after that. And he came out the next day, and he did a house blessing, and it left. So that's how I actually decided I wanted to become a demonologist, because I wanted to help people that were suffering with hauntings, because I couldn't understand why people would have to deal with this stuff. Now, a little side note, the children that they mentioned that weren't there were taken away after a neighbor called child services, and I guess the church got involved because the neighbors were bragging that when their children were born, they attached demons to them during rituals.
What pieces of work?
Yeah. Pieces of work is an understatement.
Well, we all know what they are.
Yeah, you run into some real interesting people in this kind of work. That's many people are genuine, but sometimes you'll have cases where there's all kinds of things, I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios and situations and cases that aren't like what you'd call like the classic normal perfect case.
Right.
For sure.
And
sure.
I've had people ask me if you can go back and change anything about it, would you? And my answer will always be no, because that was a lesson for me. I got to see something and experience something that would be plaguing other people that need help with this stuff. So with me becoming a demonologist and getting the training and the experience that I have, I do it to help people because no one needs to go through that. And I want as many answers on these things as possible, so I can help others out.
Well, that is that's incredibly brave, but B, I think that's why the majority of people that do this seriously do the work, because it's not safe.
Right.
We get mocked on occasion by people, or told that we're in communion with demons when we are doing it, which is not true, and all the other things that you hear. And nobody does this that's serious about it for fun and games. I like residential work because that's where I help people, and that's why I do it, because I figure that the gifts that I have, that's the reason I have them, is to help where I can.
Right.
And you do that every time, both of you do that every time you set up to go do something with your society, or anytime that you open a book to educate yourself more. We have got so much to be thankful for with our training, y'all more so than almost anyone I know. And people need to respect that, and I do tremendously respect y'all because of the work I know you put into this.
And vice versa.
Right. And there's one thing I would like to make clear for people is, now when I say I'm a demonologist, I do home deliverances. If I had to ever do personal deliverance and I couldn't find the resources, then yeah. But normally I do house deliverances. I don't have the type of credentials to do what clergy can essentially do as far as deliverance or exorcism. Personal exorcism. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of people, a demonologist isn't necessarily an exorcist. Now, exorcist could be a demonologist.
True.
But a demonologist is someone who is versed in angels and demons, the principalities, the effects they have on our lives, those kinds of things. Half the demonologists out there oppose demons, and the other half appease demons. So, now we oppose them.
Right.
For example.
Right. We've gotten contacted by people that, come to me not only wanting to learn about demonology, but asking me to help them perform black magic, or what are proper ways to summon these things. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but you have the wrong person.
No doubt.
No, I said I don't do that. I oppose them. I said I help people get rid of them. I said, you're coming to the wrong person. I said, I will pray for you. I said, but that's about all you're going to get out of me.
Well,
because I'll tell people, I'll tell these people, you may think that's what you want, and then when you get what you want and it happens, you'll be wishing that you hadn't.
You're absolutely right. But we have to go to our final break, and then we'll be right back. This is short and sweet. 2 minutes. Holy wow. That's astounding, Jennifer. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And then again, it kind of led you